I think that every woman has a place in their collection for a powder foundation. Now, I know what you all are thinking. You're probably thinking, I'm too old for a powder foundation, my skin's too dry, it's not going to give me enough coverage. I get it. I think powder foundations have a bad reputation as being powdery, but they don't have to be. And today I'm hoping to share with you some of my tips and tricks and hopefully change your opinion of powder foundations. Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Melissa, and I'm gonna just jump right in with some of my favorite ways to use a powder foundation. The first is I really like to use it, obviously, as a foundation. That's, number one. But I also enjoy using it paired with a liquid foundation when I need a little coverage, especially like around here on my nose. I think it works so much better than any other concealer that I own. When I reach for my powder foundation and I cover that area, I'm like, yes, I should do this every single time I put my makeup on. I also think it provides an extra layer of coverage. So if you are using like a BB cream or a CC cream that's kind of sheer and you're like, I need a little more coverage, that's when you should be reaching for your powder foundation. So before we get started with actual application, I just want to share, I think that you need a couple of tools that really help apply the foundation the best. The first is I really like to apply it with this flat, like kabuki style brush, because I feel like it really presses the foundation into your skin really well and does a great job of like blending it in so that it like doesn't sit on top of your skin. It really looks like it's part of your skin. The other tool that I think is really essential, especially if you're going to use it like as a concealer, is a brush similar to this one from Real Techniques. This is like a smaller little powder brush. It's like a baby powder brush. So like when I look at this, I think they're very similar in shape. They're very much like an egg shape with tapered edges along here. I think that is really important for getting into those little places that you want to conceal. And lastly, you're going to need your favorite setting spray, because I think if there is any like residual powderiness left, a setting spray will help that powder look flawless. So I am using this one from Morphe. It's the continuous setting spray, but use your favorite. Whichever one you like the best is the one you should be using. So the first thing you really need to do is prep your skin, because you really need something for the powder to adhere to. Otherwise, it is going to look powdery. So this is a step you don't want to skip. You can use a BB cream or a CC cream or a primer. I'm going to use this one from Volition. It's the Prismatic Luminizing Shield. It has an SPF of 50. I wanted to use this one because it does offer a little bit of glow. I think that's something that some people feel like the powder foundation really makes you look too flat. Genius. Whoever thought this up, genius. So I am going to give this like a minute or so to absorb into my skin, because you don't want it to be like super tacky that it's just going to grab onto the powder in a way that's going to make it like splotchy. So you need to give it a little bit of time to settle in. While I'm waiting for that to happen, I'm just going to talk about the foundation I'm going to be using today. This is the Laura Geller Baked Balance and Brighten, and the shade I wear is Fair. And it is one of these foundations that have multiple marbled colors, and I think it gives a really beautiful tone to the foundation. I will say that her color, her shade range tends to run, I think, a little dark, because this, even this, maybe could be a tiny bit dark for me. But I have used many other ones. A number of them have been discontinued. Urban Decay used to have a beautiful one, which I'm really sad that they discontinued. It was super finely milled. Loved it. So my gateway powder foundation was from Bare Minerals, the original loose powder foundation. I wore that foundation for years. It was like a game changer for me in terms of foundations. It felt like Nothing on the skin. It looked beautiful. There's a ton of shade matches. It's just awesome. And I think if that's the route you're going to go, if you can find a Bare Minerals, like a standalone store, you will get a beautiful color match from the folks that work there. We happen to have a really great store in one of our local malls, and I think if you live in Northern Virginia, go to Tyson's Corner. They have a really awesome Bare Minerals store. So there is one other tip. It's optional, but it is something for people who struggle with very large pores or a lot of texture in certain places on their skin. I will sometimes use a little bit of powder, really a little bit of powder, on areas where I have extremely large pores, because it kind of fills them in and it gives, I don't know, it smooths the surface a little bit better than some primers that I use. And I will just use the smallest amount, like on my nose, around my nose where I have some enlarged pores, like right here where I have some enlarged pores, right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that today just so you can see what I mean. I don't have like a solid color one, so I'm just going to use this from e.l.f. And I'm probably going to dip mostly into that yellow shade just because it's the most neutral. And I'm just going to go ahead and just put a little bit on my nose and right here where I tend to have some large pores, although much less since I've been using Curology, I will say. That's a bonus. And like right here, and I don't have a lot on my brush, just a little bit. If you go to Bare Minerals, their mineral veil is excellent for this, like, oh, excellent. So now I'm going to go in with my flat kabuki brush and just get some right here. And I'm just going to start blending it in. I usually start like the center of the face, blend it out. This is where I need the most coverage. Another tip is you really need to spend some time like massaging it into your skin, otherwise it is going to look very much like on the surface. So I just take my time and really blend it in all over. This is one of the fastest foundation applications, I think, in the world. So I would probably go in with this and try and conceal that a little bit more. This spot's very hard to conceal. And put an extra layer around my nose, although I feel like the coverage is pretty good. One of the things I like about this foundation in particular, when you're doing this, you can really kind of target a specific area on the pan where maybe the tone is a little bit lighter or a little brighter. See, this is darker down here, and I'm focusing here to do my like spot concealing. Now you may have noticed I really don't bring this up under my eyes because powder just ages you so much under your eyes if you have any kind of dryness or crinkling. And typically when I get done applying my foundation, I will put another layer of moisturizer under my eyes because you inadvertently do get some powder under there. I want to rehydrate. I want to really keep that part of my face extremely plumped and hydrated because every product you put there is gonna like take some moisture out of your skin and make it a little bit more dehydrated and emphasize some of those lines. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I don't think it matters what product you use under your eyes. I think it's like whatever cream you use under your eyes on a regular basis will work. It doesn't have to be a quote-unquote eye cream. It can be your face cream. So I'm just going to tap that a little bit under here. And I try and be careful not to like disturb the foundation that I've already applied. So that's why I just used a little tapping motion and just let it absorb in and do its job. And then I'm going to go ahead and just use a little bit of this setting spray. I still have some of that glow from the primer, The sun is a little bit stronger over here, which is why you see it here a little bit more. I will say, if your skin is a little bit on the dry side, I think this is an excellent setting spray. It adds a little bit more hydration than some, and I like that, especially when I'm using a powder foundation. Just my tip out there for dry girls, like who I never thought I would be talking about dry skin because I've always been so oily. Thank you, menopause, and now I'm getting dry. I think that's mostly dry. This still could soak in a little bit. I think if you feel like you look at yourself and you're like, oh, I don't like so much shine in any particular part of your face, you can go in with this very small targeted brush and apply a little finishing powder on top of that if you wanted to. It's just personal preference. The other really great thing, while I'm waiting to dry down a little bit more, is this is so easy to touch up and reapply as the day goes on. If you think, oh, it's worn off, or you've, touched your nose a lot. That tends to be the place that I lose foundation the quickest. Apparently, I can't ever stop touching my nose. And especially a pressed powder like this is awesome just to throw in your bag and bring with you. And then you can just go in with a little brush, do just a minuscule little touch-up, and you're going to look super fresh. So that's all I have on my face. I don't have any additional concealer. I don't have any additional products on my face other than what you just saw me demonstrate. So I like this amount of coverage. If you are using like a BB cream or a CC cream underneath, you will get like a little more coverage. So keep that in mind if you want to get a little bit more coverage, add that BB or CC cream. And I am going to try and get a little bit closer so you can see particularly this area where I have some larger pores and where a lot of women tend to have some larger pores. And you can see how just applying a little bit of powder there has just make that go on a little bit smoother. So if there are powder foundations that you use and really love and could recommend to the group, I wish you would leave it in the comments below, because I love seeing what other products you all have used that you have success with. I think the rest of this beauty community would really enjoy seeing what other powder foundations are a win. I publish videos every Saturday morning, and I'll leave a link to last week's video right up here in case you missed it. And if you're new to my channel and just stopping by, I would love it if you'd hit the subscribe button. That's this little bee icon down here, and join me for future videos. Thank you so much, and I'll see you real soon. Bye!